I'm Phil. I'm here to share with you what it's like living with end-stage renal failure. Now, I guess unsurprisingly, most of the videos on this channel are about me. I mean, I'm the one with the medical condition. Um, but when you have a medical condition, especially a chronic one, you're not the only person who's affected. I've got a number of family and friends who, depending on the degree of closeness or the nature of my relationship with them, are affected in different ways by my condition. Out of all of them, however, the person who has been the most impacted is my wonderful wife. So today, in this video, uh, I discuss with her what it's been like being married to someone with end-stage renal failure and the process we went through to get here. For those of you who don't know us personally, this is my wonderful wife, Tan. As always, this discussion is about what our experience is of living with someone with end-stage renal failure, or specifically TANS. For other people, the situation may be different. The experience will be different. Their emotions will be different. But today we're just sharing what it's been like for us. Are you ready?
I hope so.
Okay, first question. When I was first diagnosed, so we're talking about 25 years ago, give or take. We were a young couple. We had one child. What was that experience like for you?
Our lives were a bit of a mess anyway.
Sure.
I think you mentioned that at some stage in one of your videos. And so my response wasn't very good. I kind of went into panic mode, but then I went into old ways of my emotions, coming from a background of already trauma, dealing with an alcoholic father and all that kind of stuff, dysfunction. It didn't help that you had this and I couldn't handle it.
I'm really surprised to hear you say that, because that's not how it came across to me at the time.
What?
Okay, so not long after that, we discovered you were pregnant with a son, and we discovered he had polycystic kidney disease through scans. Again, that was pretty traumatizing for me. What was that like for you?
Uh, we learned we got some information about it with you and what may be for Aaron. But it really didn't hit home because you were still functioning. You were, still working and so nothing apart from your blood pressure and there wasn't really anything significant.
So the next 20 years, I've explained already that I was pretty much in denial. We didn't really talk about it a lot over the next 20 years.
It probably didn't help that the medical profession it wasn't really helpful or more clear with information.
Mm.
Um, we sort of got the diagnosis, a few meetings with a geneticist. Did we see a geneticist?
At one point, yeah.
And then a little bit of information, but not a great deal.
That's true.
Not a lot of follow up from the professionals.
Is that it? Yeah. Sorry.
Mm.
I think that's a fair point, because I hear that a lot from other people who have renal failure. Sometimes it can take years for it to deteriorate, and sometimes it doesn't deteriorate the whole way. But very often people don't feel like they're being told what's going on until after it's happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a fair point. Okay, so after that period of about 20 years, my symptoms started to get worse. The doctor that I saw at the time discovered that my kidney function was well on the way out from a blood test, and I ended up beginning to see the renal clinic again. That was a really big change for me, but it was also a big change for you. Can you extrapolate on that?
Um, Once that started happening, I think they still put off talking about, well, they'd set you up for the fistula, things like that, but they still put you off for a little bit because your numbers would, but you were feeling crap or at the same time, and so they were trying to put you off for a bit, um, but then the day came where you were told, let's get you in for your first dialysis. Um, it was yeah, it was kind of like going underwater.
I think just to
And
be sorry, just to be fair to the
yeah,
medical people, I put off the fistula. They wanted me to get fistula, and I kept going. I don't want to. I don't want to do it. It's a big operation. I'm actually quite terrified of it. Eventually, you're right. We got to the point where they said, "No, you're having the fistula." So just to clarify that.
that was about a year before, wasn't it? Or
Next month. Yeah.
and usually they went away a bit longer. Don't know.
So that
For it to
that's my fault.
Mm.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were that whiny.
Only privately.
Huh.
So is there anything else you want?
Oh, yeah, I can't remember.
Okay. Well, the thing that you mentioned there previously was that we didn't get a lot of information until things got actually pretty bad. We didn't even get an appointment with a nutritionist until I pretty much got down to end-stage renal failure, so EGFR of under 15. But you went online and you learnt a lot about the renal diet, and you did a lot of work on changing what we were eating. We were already eating fairly healthily, but we had to adapt even further. So where did you learn about the renal diet? How hard was it to adapt? Could you explain that?
I like you said, I went online, Googled, and then Dr. Google. No. Yeah, I just dug, and I came to the realization that look at the blood work, look at the numbers, and go from there. Um, and I just hunted, and found sites and information all over the place. So I'm sorry I can't give you any full notes.
Well, we joined you first, and then I joined a Facebook site for Facebook group, for people dealing with renal failure, whether they be patient or family members. And there's a lot of talk on there, isn't there, about renal diet. And as you say, this whole site's dedicated to it. So the information's out there.
I had a bit of a scare with cholesterol and the threat of being put on statins for that, and things like that. And I managed to, with the renal diet, clean up some of my health issues.
I'm glad to be
lost
helped.
some weight, and things like that. So yeah.
Okay. When we were doing training for me to do dialysis at home, the plan was for us to both be trained so that if anything went wrong, or if I was really unwell, which hasn't happened, thank goodness, you'd be able to help out. Although I have to say that I never intended Tan to learn how to stick the needles in my arm, and she still hasn't.
Let me.
Nope. Yeah, I don't even like it when nurses do. But unfortunately, you actually got quite on well yourself
Mm.
about halfway through the training. So you did the first half of the training. So you did laying the machine and priming the machine.
Mm.
But then you kind of couldn't come back for the rest of the training. So I know you were frustrated by that at the time. Would you like to talk about that?
Um, the training was really hard and intense because it happened quite fast.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I get unwell, flu, cold type things quite a bit. So, it happened during training, and we would have very early mornings, to get to Palmerston, to the unit there. And that took a lot of energy for me, and to keep going. And I wanted to keep going, but I couldn't. Um, so I felt really frustrated that I couldn't see it through. And but I'm still helpful.
All right. So now we've in the story gotten to the point where I'm starting dialysis. Um, I have to obviously pretty much plan my life entirely around dialysis. Um, you are not far behind in how much you need to plan yourself around my dialysis sessions. Now, just for clarification for anyone who's watching, um, I do most of the stuff with dialysis, which you can see if you watch the series I did on dialysis. Um, but there needs to be someone else in the house. Good example of why this happens is a couple of weeks ago, I was taking out my top needle and my bottom needle started bleeding. I needed to hold pressure on the top wound, but I needed help with the bottom needle. I've already got two hands. So there needs to be someone else in the house. So again, how has this affected you?
Um, yeah, my life is around you and your dialysis. Yeah. Uh,
So, oh, sorry.
no.
I was going to say, so um, you do try and make an effort to get out of the house and do your own stuff, though. Sometimes, don't you? Yeah, but it is important.
Mm, yeah. I yes, I'm a bit of a hermit. Actually, I'm a big hermit. So if I can find a way of just staying home, I will. I try to go to the gym. I try, go for a walk. Um, make contact with others on the planet. I try, but it's really hard.
Okay, so having end-stage renal failure, starting dialysis, having to rotate my life around dialysis, working part-time instead of full-time, has changed a lot of how I look at stuff, how I view life, how I look at myself, how I view relationships. Has this change in our life made any sort of similar change for you?
I don't think the diagnosis or anything like that changed me too much. Um, but it did focus me more on you, on the situation, and I had to work even harder around here, um, with what had to happen and has to happen with you, um, and to keep home running. It just made the marriage vows more real.
You kind of answered my next question, actually. which was how do you think this experience has changed our relationship?
Yeah, like I said, put an underline under those vowels. Had me checking my intentions, my motives, hmm, and how to be more gracious and that towards you. And
Mm. I have to say, for me, just flip side, because I haven't actually discussed this. I think that we have become closer as a result of this happening. Um, and I think those things that you mentioned, things like being more understanding and more gracious, has had to go two ways because, um, well, I'm not completely dependent on you. Um, there is a degree of that there, and that is, from my perspective, really frustrating to have to be that dependent, to not be able to do things around the house, that sort of thing, because I run out of energy. Um, and so for me, that's required me to have a bit more, well, grace towards myself, but also towards our relationship and towards you, to say, this is where things are at, and we just got to deal with it.
mm,
I meant to mention this earlier, but I forgot. We kind of have an understanding, which is fairly normal when you're in a relationship with people where one person's unwell, and that is that I understand that you think I'm sicker than I am,
mm-hmm.
and you understand that I don't realize how sick I am. So it comes out to a bit of a balance. Um, but it seems to work. Most of the time, I remember to ask for help when I need it, and most of the time, um, you leave me to do my thing until I ask. Occasionally, one of us doesn't quite get that balance right, but most of the time it's right.
Mm. Yeah, it's not until you do something scary and you shouldn't have. Um,
Hindsight's 2020.
that's it can be really frustrating. But yeah, there's things like walking off without a stick, or because you need the support at times, more often not. Um, get things like that, and you just want to lasso.
That's forgetfulness, by the way. Like, I generally do take my.
I just figured you had a flashback and you're back doing athletics again, the same thing.
That was what, 40 years ago?
It couldn't happen. And that's what happens with old age.
Good on you. You're
You'll
bad.
have flashbacks.
Not bad at all. Yeah. So, it's that's fairly normal relationship, I understand, between, like I say, people in this situation. Um, but yeah, I think we've pretty much come to an understanding on
We'll see. Could be a part two.
it. All right. Thanks for joining us today, guys. Um, I hope this has been interesting, possibly a bit entertaining. Um, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed it or found it interesting, I'd appreciate it if you could hit like. If you want to know more about what it's like living with end-stage renal failure, then go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.